There's a wealth transfer happening right now that nobody's talking about. Not the one on the news, not billionaires getting richer. This is different, and it's how regular people quietly build generational wealth while everyone else is distracted. Every 15 to 20 years, the economic system resets. There was one in 1987, another one in 2000, and then 2008. So clearly we're overdue. And the opportunities aren't in crypto hype or stock market timing. They're in the boring gaps that open up when the old system breaks and the new one hasn't formed yet. I'm showing you 6 hidden opportunities that average people use to capture wealth during these transfers. Number 4, costs less than $5,000 to start. Let's go. Opportunity. Number 1, tax line gold mine. Robert was a high school teacher making $42,000 in 2010. He had $8,000 saved. Not wealthy, no connections. But he understood something most people miss about economic collapse. When people lose jobs and can't pay bills, the first thing they stop paying isn't their mortgage, it's property taxes. And governments don't wait. They sell those tax debts to investors at auction. Robert bought his first tax lien for $1,200. Debt against a small commercial property. The owner owed 3 years of back taxes. Here's how it works. Robert paid the debt. Now the owner owed him, with interest rates set by the state at 16% per year. Either the owner pays Robert back with that massive interest, or after the redemption period expires, Robert can foreclose and take the property. The owner paid. Robert made $576 on $1,200 in 18 months. That's a 48% return. He did it again and again. By 2015, he had a portfolio generating returns the stock market couldn't touch. But here's what almost nobody knows. In 2009, during the depths of the recession, tax lien auctions in Arizona were drawing crowds of 12 to 15 people. By 2011, that number had dropped to 4 or 5. Why? Because most people gave up, got scared, or never learned the system in the first place. The people who stayed, like Robert, had almost no competition for incredible deals. The pattern, tax lien investing spikes during economic stress because more people fall behind on taxes. But paradoxically, competition drops because people panic and stop investing in anything. Over half of US states have tax lien programs. Some offer tax deed sales instead. Different mechanism, same concept. Learn the rules now, the interest rates, the redemption periods, the foreclosure process. This isn't speculation. This is buying government-backed debt at guaranteed interest rates, secured by real property. The people getting rich from this aren't real estate moguls. They're teachers, nurses, and accountants who learned how the system works and showed up when everyone else was panicking. Opportunity number 2, the abandoned skills economy. Maria got laid off in October 2008. She was making $32,000 as a receptionist. She had a choice, panic and take any job she could find, or bet on herself. She chose herself. Maria had always been good at organizing. She started offering home organization services for $25 an hour. Closets, garages, storage spaces. During a recession, you'd think nobody would pay for that. The opposite happened. People were downsizing, moving to smaller homes, trying to sell properties that needed to show well. They were overwhelmed, stressed, and needed help. Maria's business exploded. By 2010, she was booked solid at $75 an hour. By 2012, she had 2 employees and was running a 6-figure business. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Corporate organizing services, the big companies with fancy offices and high overhead, were raising their prices during the recession to maintain margins. They were charging $150 to $200 an hour. Maria at $75 an hour looked like an incredible deal. She wasn't competing on being cheap. She was competing on being reasonable while everyone else was gouging. The wealth transfer wasn't from rich to poor. It was from corporations who couldn't adapt to individuals who could. The pattern. During economic resets, corporate service providers cut staff, raise prices, and reduce quality to protect margins. This creates massive gaps in the service economy that independent operators can fill. The opportunity: identify a skill you can learn in 90 days that solves an expensive problem when people are stressed. Not a hobby, not something interesting. A skill people will pay money for. Examples that work every recession. Basic bookkeeping and tax preparation for small businesses. Companies still need to file taxes during recessions. The ones who can't afford big accounting firms will pay individuals who know QuickBooks and basic tax law. Estate cleanouts and organization. When people die or downsize, someone has to deal with a lifetime of possessions. It's emotional, overwhelming work that people will pay to outsource. Handyman and repair services. When people can't afford to replace things, they need someone who can fix them. Learn basic plumbing, electrical, and carpentry, and you'll have more work than you can handle. Mobile notary and document services, legal processes don't stop during recessions. Divorces, real estate closings, estate documents, these all need notarization. Barriers to entry are low, demand is constant. Build the skill and the reputation before the reset. Because when it hits, you need to deploy immediately while everyone else is still figuring out what happened. Opportunity number 3, distressed inventory flips. Kevin worked in IT in 2009, making $50,000 a year with $3,000 saved. He started going to business liquidation auctions, restaurants closing, retail stores shutting down, offices downsizing. He bought things with obvious resale value, commercial kitchen equipment, office furniture, point of sale systems, display cases. First purchase, $800 in restaurant equipment from a failed diner, 3 commercial-grade stainless steel prep tables. He sold them on Craigslist over the next month for $2,100, turned $800 into $2,100 in 30 days. Kevin kept doing it, small deals, quick flips. He wasn't trying to build a warehouse or become a major dealer. He was just capturing the spread between liquidation prices and market prices. By 2012, he was making $30,000 a year in side income. By 2015, it was his full-time business doing over $150,000 in revenue. But here's what made Kevin different from the dozens of other people who tried this and failed. He specialized. Most people at liquidation auctions buy randomly. That looks valuable, I'll bid on it. They end up with junk they can't sell. Kevin only bought restaurant equipment. That's it. He learned that market inside and out. He knew what brands held value. He knew what restaurants needed. He knew the going rates. When a liquidation auction had restaurant equipment, Kevin was the expert in the room. Everyone else was guessing. He was calculating. The pattern. Businesses fail during stress. Assets get dumped. Smart people buy low and sell at market rates to businesses still operating. The opportunity. Start learning how to find and evaluate distressed inventory now. Follow commercial auctioneers. Monitor business bankruptcy listings. Build relationships with liquidation companies. Learn what things are actually worth. The mistake most people make is waiting until the crisis to start. By then, competition is high and the best deals get snapped up by people who already have systems in place. Build your system now. Make a few small test purchases. Learn the process. Understand the margins. Then, when the next wave of business failures hits, you're not learning. You're executing. Opportunity. Number 4, cash flow real estate from tired landlords. Everyone knows about buying foreclosures. That's the obvious real estate opportunity during a crash. Here's the less competitive play that's often more profitable, buying cash flow properties from exhausted landlords. Let me explain the psychology. When the economy tanks, renters stop paying, eviction processes slow down, courts get backlogged. Landlords, especially small-time landlords with 1 or 2 properties, get emotionally destroyed, dealing with non-paying tenants, legal fees, and constant stress. They want out, not because the property is worthless, because they're emotionally done. These landlords will sell at steep discounts just to be free of the headache. James and Linda were a middle-class couple with $40,000 saved in 2011. They started looking for small rental properties being sold by exhausted landlords. They found a duplex listed at $95,000. It had been on the market for 7 months with no offers. The owner was a retired guy who was tired of dealing with tenant issues. He just wanted to sell and move on. James and Linda offered $70,000 cash. The seller accepted immediately. They renovated both units for $8,000, found good tenants, and within 6 months, the property was generating $1,400 a month in rent against a $900 monthly expense load. That's $500 a month in positive cash flow from a $78,000 investment. Over 7% cash-on-cash return, plus appreciation potential. They did it 3 more times between 2011 and 2013. By 2020, those 4 properties were worth over $600,000 combined, generating $2,800 a month in passive income. But here's the detail that made this work. James and Linda didn't just show up with cash and expect deals to fall in their lap. They joined local real estate investor groups 6 months before they started buying. They met property managers. They built relationships with small landlords. They let people know they were serious cash buyers who could close quickly. When landlords got overwhelmed, James and Linda were the first call, not some random investor they'd never met. The opportunity, build those relationships now before the stress hits. Join local investor groups. Connect with property management companies. Let people know you're a buyer with capital who can close quickly. When the next downturn comes and landlords start getting overwhelmed, you'll be the first call they make. The key is to target properties that are fundamentally sound in decent areas. The landlord's problem isn't the property. It's their lack of systems, capital, or emotional capacity to handle tenant issues. You're not buying distressed real estate. You're buying from distressed sellers. Big difference. Opportunity. Number 5, corporate exodus arbitrage. Here's something happening right now that's setting up a massive wealth transfer opportunity. Corporations are shedding physical assets, office buildings, retail locations, company vehicles, equipment. Why? Remote work, digital transformation, cost-cutting, automation. This creates a unique arbitrage. Assets that were essential to corporate operations are now being sold as surplus, often at liquidation prices, to buyers who can use them differently. Marcus worked in corporate real estate in 2020. When COVID hit and companies started abandoning office space, he saw the opportunity. Small office buildings in secondary markets were being sold at massive discounts because corporations didn't want to manage them anymore. But those same buildings could be converted into other uses: medical offices, co-working spaces, mixed-use developments. Marcus partnered with 2 friends. They pooled $60,000 and bought a 4,000 square foot office building that had been a regional corporate office for a telecommunications company. Purchase price? $180,000 for a building that had been valued at $400,000 in 2019. They spent $40,000 converting it into a mixed-use space, small office suites, a coffee shop, and co-working areas. Within a year, they had it fully leased. The building was generating $6,500 a month in rent. Their total investment was $220,000. That's over 35% annual cash-on-cash return. By 2024, they owned 3 similar buildings, all purchased from corporations liquidating real estate. But here's what nobody tells you about corporate liquidations. Corporations aren't just trying to get fair value. They're trying to get these assets off their books as quickly as possible. Every month they hold an unused building. It costs them money in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and executive attention. They have entire teams whose job is to shed non-core assets fast. That creates urgency, and urgency creates opportunity for buyers who can move quickly. The pattern: corporations optimize for different metrics than individuals. What's inefficient for a Fortune 500 company might be incredibly profitable for a small operator. The opportunity: monitor corporate asset sales in your area, government surplus auctions, corporate liquidations, fleet vehicle sales, equipment auctions. Look for assets that have utility but don't fit corporate operational models anymore. A corporate office building that's too small for headquarters might be perfect for professional services. A company vehicle fleet being retired might be ideal for a service business. Industrial equipment being surplused might be exactly what a small manufacturer needs. You're not competing with other individuals. You're buying from corporations who are optimizing for simplicity and speed, not maximum value. Opportunity number 6, knowledge arbitrage. This is the opportunity nobody sees because it doesn't look like an investment. During wealth transfers, information becomes asymmetric. Some people understand what's happening, most don't. The people who understand can teach, consult, or guide others through the transition and get paid extremely well to do it. David was a mid-level financial analyst in 2008. He understood what was happening with mortgage-backed securities, credit default swaps, and the housing market. He saw the collapse coming. But instead of just protecting his own money, he started teaching others. He launched a simple blog explaining the crisis in plain English. Then he started offering one-on-one consulting calls for $200 an hour to help people understand their exposure and make decisions. Within 6 months, he was booked solid. He raised his rate to $400 an hour, then $600. By 2010, David had written a book, launched an online course, and was doing corporate speaking gigs. He made over $300,000 that year teaching people about financial crisis management. He wasn't rich before. He just understood something that other people desperately needed to understand, and he packaged that knowledge into a service. But here's the part that surprised David. The people paying him weren't poor or desperate. They were successful professionals and business owners who simply didn't have time to figure it out themselves. A dentist making $400,000 a year would gladly pay David $600 for an hour of clarity on whether to sell his rental properties or hold them. That $600 could save him $100,000 in bad decisions. The pattern: during times of chaos, clarity is worth a fortune. People will pay massive amounts of money to someone who can explain what's happening, what it means for them, and what they should do about it. The opportunity: become an expert in one aspect of the coming transition and build the platform to teach it now. Not generalized financial advice, specific, actionable expertise in a narrow domain. Examples: tax strategies for people who lost jobs or started businesses during economic stress, how to navigate foreclosure, alternatives and negotiate with banks, how to start a service business with minimal capital during a recession, how to buy distressed assets at auction without getting burned. The platform can be simple: a YouTube channel, a newsletter, a local workshop series, LinkedIn content. The key is to start building your audience and credibility now before the crisis hits. Because when things get chaotic, people don't want generic advice from talking heads. They want specific guidance from someone who clearly knows what they're talking about. If you can be that person in your niche, you can build a 6-figure income stream teaching what you know. Here's what separates people who capture one opportunity from people who capture multiple. Preparation diversity. You don't know which opportunity will present itself first or which will be most accessible to you. So you don't pick one, you position for several. Spend 3 months learning about tax liens. Spend 3 months building a monetizable skill. Spend 3 months studying distressed inventory markets. Spend 3 months building landlord relationships. The time investment is minimal, a few hours a week, but the knowledge compounds. When the wealth transfer accelerates, you'll have multiple entry points, multiple ways to capitalize, multiple streams of opportunity. The people who get rich aren't the ones who go all in on one bet. They're the ones who position themselves across multiple opportunities and then execute on whichever ones present themselves first. Robert from Tax Liens also picked up bookkeeping clients during the crisis. Kevin from Inventory Flipping also taught workshops on liquidation buying. Marcus from Real Estate also consulted for other investors looking at corporate assets. Multiple streams, multiple opportunities, all stemming from the same chaotic environment. That's how average people build wealth during transfers. Not one big score, multiple small advantages that compound. The wealth transfer is already starting. Corporate layoffs, asset repricing, market volatility. Most people will see this as a threat. You understand it's the greatest opportunity you'll have to change your financial position. Pick 2 of these 6 opportunities. Spend the next 90 days learning, build the knowledge, make the connections, set aside capital. When things accelerate, you'll be executing while everyone else panics. If this showed you opportunities you didn't know existed, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment. Which opportunity are you positioning for first? Stay ready. I'll see you in the next one.